Stadium for day 2, and today we are going to do the tour because yesterday was a day game and we can't do tours on day games.
We're excited to see the stadium tour of Colorado.
I'll see you in there.
Welcome to course field. Just gonna go over real quick some of the rules. Number 1, please ask me questions. I get very boring very fast because I will get in the weeds with some weird baseball facts, and there's no way to go through every single thing in just the hour 15, maybe hour 20 minutes that we have. So if there's something that you see or you have a question about that maybe I haven't brought up, deal. Right, number 2, please take photos. We're not going anywhere today that I have a lot of problems with Dodgers. Mostly that I want to hate him. Dave Roberts is such a good dude, and that makes me angry. Major League Baseball's Colorado Rockies, and don't worry, I do love who we are, but I do love this team. I love this place, and is anybody else coming to the game tonight? Me?
You witnessed it.
What? Like 4 people? Maybe I could convince you guys to come to the park. I see it as my job because I'm the first lifelong Rockies fan they've ever hired to be a tour guide here. Woohoo! I'm the baby at 37. Let's walk down the concourse a bit. So Coors Field actually didn't open for play until 1995, but we were signed into existence in 1991 on the same day we share our birthday with the Marlins, who are now the Florida Marlins. Or Miami now. Used to be Florida Marlins. But we had to promise Major League Baseball quite a few things to get our team. We had to promise them that number 1, we wanted it and could fill a stadium. Number 2, we had to promise them that that stadium would be a baseball-only ballpark. And I was just chatting with a whole bunch of people about the Athletics Coliseum out in Oakland. That used to be a very popular way to host a team with this how an NFL MLB shared experience. MLB hated it. They did not like it. And if you've ever caught any of those games on TV, it really didn't look great to have to outfield, and it was just weird when you're watching football. So they didn't like it. We decided, okay, we can promise you we'll build you a brand new park, and we will promise you that we've got $215 million. So we did a lot of calling to local businesses, raise enough money to spend that money on building this park. We needed a couple years to do it though, so even though they hated it, Major League Baseball let us play over at Mile High Stadium, sharing with the Broncos for the 1993 and 1994 seasons, which afforded us a pretty cool opportunity. So, football stadiums typically have a much larger capacity than baseball stadiums. Old Mile High was an 80,000 seat capacity place. We managed to set the regular season attendance for a single game in April 1993, our very first game ever. 80,227 folks came to the ballpark that day. No one's ever going to break that because even though they're still playing in Oakland, no one wants to go. We set a record that will never be broken. Single season attendance record for Major League Baseball. About 4.5 million people came to the ballpark in 1993. Only 3.5 million people even lived in Colorado. So we loved it, we were so excited. Well, we finally opened here in 1995, but we had to really purchase and renovate a lot of space. This was the most space that was available in an accessible part of Denver. We tried to get into a spot where people could drive, people could take public transit, and make it fairly easy, because downtowns in general are kind of hard to get around. Lots of one-way streets and things like that. We took out a whole bunch of warehouses, we took out a bunch of railroad tracks. We tried to save as much as we could because we're actually the third ballpark in the retro ballpark series. So this is the early 90s, and that includes Camden Yards out in Baltimore, and the second one is Jacobs, whatever Jacobs Field is called today in Cleveland. Whatever.com something. Yeah, sure. I don't know what Mile High is called, and I drive by it every morning. Sure. Yeah. I don't know. I'll tell you why in a second. I'm lucky that I don't have to remember a new name for here. But we did manage to save one of those old warehouses. It's the oldest part of the ballpark, and it's right here. We're gonna head inside in a second. We did something very, very special with it. And this warehouse is 1 year younger than Fenway Park and 1 year older than Wrigley Field. Oldest part of the park. Let's go ahead and go inside because we're a working ballpark. We don't have a machine stuff going on, but I'll try to walk slow enough that you want to grab photos of the outside. So this is also our, I guess, sister look with Camden Yards. They'll match the bricks. These are the original bricks to our newer bricks. They're about 100 years in age apart, these bricks, and they were made by the same brick company, but luckily, they were still open.
It's an old warehouse they turned into a park. That is amazing.
Welcome to the Sandlot, everybody. Remember I said we promised them that we had a lot of money, and they said, okay, sure, you can have a baseball team. Well, one of the phone calls that we made to raise that money was to this little mom and pop organization out in Golden. It's a little family brewery called Coors. Some of you may have heard of it. They said, sure, we'll give you 15 million bucks. We said, yay, thank you. And they said, well, what do we get for it? 'Cause again, this is 1990 that they're pledging us this money. That's a lot. So we said, how about a minority ownership in the whole team? And they said, cool. What else? We promised them the naming rights to Coors Field, and they said, cool, we'll have our lawyers draw that up. Kids, remember to always have a good attorney. Got it? Well, the language in that contract does state that for that one-time fee of $15 million, the Coors family owns a minority ownership in the team. They have since released that because they really didn't need it for the rest of it. They also got the naming rights to Coors Field in perpetuity. So until this place crumbles to dust, this is Coors Field. And then you have to call that part of the dust Coors Field too, in the contract. After we had all those folks come through in 1993, and we probably would have set another record in 1994, but it was shortened by a strike. For attendance, we said, we want to do something super cool. We're building this brand new, amazing ballpark. Let's put something interesting in it. We decided, called the Coors family, we put in the first microbrewery in Major League Sports. I know Braves fans, y'all got one now too. But guess what? The Coors family owns that too, so technically it's ours. we put in the first one, and we're adorable. Anything that's on either of those two, they're the same, but those two blackboards, anything on the left is made right here in house. It's still right here or underneath your feet. And they've all got cute baseball names. My personal favorite is the right field red. We normally have left field lager, but this year we renamed it the number 17 lager in honor of Todd Halton. We'll talk more about it in a bit. The most popular one though, easily in 1995, selling like hotcakes. Belly slide wins. And remember how smart those Coors lawyers were? They reminded the Coors family, hey, you've got national distribution rights. Maybe get in on that. So they took Belly slide win, they renamed it, and it is, as of July of last year, the #1 microbrewer in the United States, and as of May of this year, the 5th most popular beer, regardless of style, in the the US, and it is called Blue Moon. This is in fact that born in a ballpark script you see at the end of those ads. This is that ballpark. We're a little proud of it. But we have all kinds of other great beers here too. We have a whole wall of fame because we win lots of Great American Beer Festival awards. That does take place here in Denver in 1996 in Belgium. So that's pretty cool. Accessibility is important in this ballpark too. We want to make sure that people can have the experience they want to have in the park. So there's only 2 areas of Coors Field that you must have an area specific ticket to go to, and that's club level and suite level. We'll head up into those zones here in a second. Anywhere else, pretty much, you can be so long as you've got a ticket to the ballpark. Now, if you want to be in that seat right behind home plate, you've got to have that ticket. But if you've got that ticket right behind home plate and you want to stop in here, you can, which is fantastic because it's climate control. It's nice and cool in here. We are probably going to break a few records for heat this summer. Guess where your girl's hanging out? Yeah, in here. That's also because we've got the Smokehouse Barbecue right back there behind you. You can eat barbecue options. There's 2 other spots in the park to get barbecue, but one you can find anywhere in town and the other is so you don't have to worry about that. It's Dave's. No, it's fine. It's not a big deal. So this is my personal favorite place to come, and you can also grab a spot back there. You don't miss any of the action because we do keep the TVs on. I definitely got surprised by the pitch clock and how long it can take just to be out of your seat these days. So we want to make sure no one misses any of the action if they want to be watching the game. And anyone's welcome. There's a yellow line on the concourse. That yellow line runs all around our main concourse. One of the big things that we learned from the building of Camden Yards and Jacobs Field was that we wanted a more accessible ballpark. So we have the widest concourse as of 1995. They've kept improving, and we are no longer one of the newest. We are in fact the 3rd oldest ballpark in the National League. Braves, y'all have had 2 in that amount of time. Take care of your stuff. So we wanted people to be able to have plenty of space, number 1, and it's 360-degree access. We were the first ballpark with that. There's no walking around along the first baseline and then you have to exit and then come back in to get to center field. You can walk from home plate all the way around the main concourse, and the only interrupted view of the field is directly behind the backside. Pretty cool. We did in fact put in that yellow line so that anybody could stand directly behind that yellow line and enjoy the view of the ballgame. So your ticket might be directly behind home plate, but maybe you want to know what it's like to be in the bleachers. You don't have a bleachers ticket, you can't necessarily sit in the bleachers. You probably can sit in the bleachers, they're not really going to chuck out there for most games. What it's like by standing directly behind that yellow line, and they don't mind. You can hang out there. You can grab yourself a ticket out in the bleachers and get a feel for what it's like behind home plate. Any view of the ballpark. By the way, if you ever get sick of listening to me, you want to tune me out, which is totally fine. I have a shrill voice. Maybe you still want to learn something, you can just look up. We have all kinds of Rockies firsts and player milestones commemorated. Any silver pennant you see is a Silver Slugger award. Any purple bear you see is a Gold Glove award. We have not hung up Bretton Doyle's from last year yet, but we will be soon. The purple dots that are up above most of those Silver Slugger awards, some of them just say, "Yay, go Rockies!" But others will commemorate a first, like the first cycle hit by Dante Bichette is coming up here in a second. By the way, we've been open since 1995 for play, and we are tied for most cycles hit in one location at 18. The location that they tied us last year. They've been playing baseball a little bit longer than we have. Jose Altuve hit one at Fenway Park. They've been playing there since the Titanic sank. So it took them over 100 years to hit a full cycle, and it took us under 30 because our most recent cycle was hit by Charlie Blackmon in 2018. Start getting photos of with the field. Stan's gonna be glad to help. That's right, I'm volunteering him. Welcome to the rooftop, everyone. we noticed that this park, which used to look exactly like that over there, it was all seats, including that gorgeous purple row of seats. That purple row, by the way, does designate exactly 5,280 feet or 1 mile above sea level. So if you want to watch baseball at some real altitude, get row 20 to 300 level. I'll be in seats 19 and 20 and 325. That's where I like to sit. Anyway, we realized, and you guys probably can feel it too, there's a massive difference between standing right here massive difference, right? So we decided, hey, if no one's gonna sit there, we're gonna copy some of the restaurants in the downtown area that we're doing a whole Wrigleyville thing. Lots of rooftop restaurants and bars down here now, where there used to be just nothing and train tracks, right? Well, we put in our own, so he pulled out 3,300 seats, and now this is technically a 3,300 standing room only area. Now, here's the hack. You can buy it before first pitch, because the second that baseball leaves the pitcher's hand in the first inning, the deal is over. But before that, as soon as the gates open, $3 Coors Light and $6 Welk cocktails. A lot of people like to get rooftop specific tickets because, well, there are some places to sit around, including back on the cabanas, or see how those signs over there are yellow right now. When those signs are yellow, if you have a rooftop ticket, hey, eat yours, rest and relax. I'm sure you guys did not see that a whole lot this week though, because y'all got Shohei. And we've had near sellouts, so those turned red because they sold those tickets to someone. Sorry, you're stuck on the rooftop having a good time, so sorry for you. So this is a popular area prior to first pitch, but it's also one of my favorite views of the field. By the way, you can already see that they are getting it mowed. We mow it every single time we play baseball, and when we are on a road trip, we will mow it about every other day. Kind of depends on growing conditions, how dry it is, all of those things. We have the largest grass area, the largest outfield in baseball. We have more grass than any other sport. We double checked, we've got more grass than any NFL team. Even if you count their turf, we got more grass than they got turf. The reason that we mow it every single time we play baseball, and when we are on a road trip, we will mow it about is that mile-high altitude. We are not just so high that the air is thin, we're also in a semi-arid climate. More grass than any other sport. We double checked, we've got more grass than any NFL team. Even if you count their turf, we got more grass than they got turf. The reason that we did that is that mile-high altitude. We are we're also in a semi-arid climate, so baseball do fly further here. If you eliminate any sort of wind condition, 7 to 10% farther is what science tells us a baseball will fly. Well, we did our best to try to control the amount of home runs that were hit. We are about 5th in the league for home runs in one park, but what we did was we created a whole situation with doubles and triples. So we get a lot of those. We're still a very hitter-friendly park. Even though in 2007 our head of engineering said, okay, we got to do something about this. This is getting a little wild. Those baseballs are showing up, they're sitting downstairs, and they are just shrinking and becoming rock hard and jumping off of those bats like crazy. So Tony invented what only he calls the environmental control chamber for baseballs. The rest of us all call it the humidor because we're humans. He will not refer to it as that, so if you see Tony on tour today, don't say the humidor to him. He will ignore you. He'll roll his eyes. He's a classy man. We were the first humidor. It is standard in every ballpark. It is standard in every ballpark now because the idea is that baseball must feel the same out of the pitcher's hand, whether he's in Boston, Colorado, San Diego, Seattle. It needs to feel the same to him because humidity is really most impacted in the pitch and the curve of the pitch. There's almost nothing we can do about that. We tried our best to try to keep the balls in the park, but here we are. We can't make that ball curve. Any questions about that? So that back to that field, it is a mix of Kentucky bluegrass and rye. It is proprietary by our head grounds crewman. We took him actually from Mile High in 1993. He became ours pretty quick and he's been with us ever since. He does a great, fantastic job. We recently, alongside Target Field in Minnesota and the Mariners out in Seattle, We water and fertilize primarily from underneath. Part of that is environmental. It gets so dang hot and we are at altitude and the semi-arid climate and all that it is more efficient to be watering from the roots. But it also allows us to have grass that is this green on opening day. That grass has to be in peak. We also have to push hot water and glycol through. This is so cute. We start waking up our grassroots on Valentine's Day, which is the same day that pitchers and catchers report for spring training. That's the day we start waking up our grass because we'll have snow on it essentially from November until February. It gets a little treacherous out back behind the home plate on the warning track where we're going to be. It gets a little treacherous out there because that's the shady part of the ballpark and it doesn't really melt once it snows over there. Any questions? Which is very cool. I know that I promised that I would crap on the city of Las Vegas for a little bit, so I'm going to take that opportunity now. Has anybody heard about where apparently the Athletics are going to be purchasing in Las Vegas? It's going to be the old Tropicana space. It's going to be on Las Vegas Boulevard. It's about 9 acres. We sit on 75 acres and it spreads from McGregor Square across the street all the way over to those blue and white silos down there. All of that is our parking lots. So, we could have like 7 or 8 of them.
Really cool.
By the way, there are a ton of
What do you think?
memorabilia in some of these boxes. We've got like milestone baseballs. So if you want to take a look at those, please do. I will break y'all's hearts. Those bats mean nothing. They are just decor that we bought at Dick's Sporting Goods and put in display. Sorry. About 9. But they haven't purchased it yet, but
That's where it's big.
yeah, they've offered them I'm going to get into the weeds of it. See, I told you, don't ask me boring questions. They've offered them a different spot, which is actually further south at the very end of the strip, which is far larger.
Right.
And Oakland is really good at making business decisions, so they said, no, we want this one. Okay. Right. Welcome to Mountain Ranch Bar and Grill, everybody. So this part of the park used to be season ticket holder only. But it wasn't like, oh, this is where your season ticket is. How fun for you. It was like, no, you own a seat out there and then purchase additionally into the club. Does anybody else want to purchase 2 tickets to one ball game? I don't. So, it wasn't very popular. They opened it up. There are still some season ticket seats down in the front near the club, but everything else, you're welcome to be up here if you've got a ticket to the ball game. There are 2 seatings, and if you do sit up here during the game, you either have to belly up to the bar and hope that Stan will pour you a right field red, or have a reservation. And if you have a reservation, you must purchase the all-you-can-eat buffet. 2 seatings. One is gates open until first pitch. The other one is first pitch until the end of the ball game. Where's my Angels fans? There you are. Y'all remember that game you destroyed us last year, 26-1? Oh, I do. Y'all batted around 1.5 times in 1 inning. Shohei hit 2 home runs in 1 inning. Your first 3 batters, pitch 1, 2, 3 home runs. So yeah, I remember it. But I was in here with my best friend, and he said, "You know what? The all-you-can-eat buffet. This is almost tolerable." But it was historic to watch. I told my aunt, who's an Angels fan, I said, "Come get Mike Trout. He's ruining my night." good seating opportunity you can see as you get further to the outer batter's eye. A batter's eye is technically just a dark area that is situated behind the pitcher as the batter is looking at him. And it's a safety feature so that the batter has a little bit better of a chance of seeing that tiny, tiny, tiny white baseball flying at him 100 miles an hour. We want people to strike out, but we want them to be safe, in theory, right? For the most part. Bonds, or whatever. Anyway, so we want them to be safe. Everybody's required to have a batter's eye, but everyone's done something a little bit different with theirs. Ours, we decided to do a nod to the fact that we're not the Denver Rockies, we're the Colorado Rockies. So while the ivy that you see up against the wall itself is from Virginia, every tree and bush that you see down inside there is native to Colorado, including that adorable little blue spruce up there front and center. That's our state tree. You can also see about 200 tons of red rock, which is also mined here in Colorado. And ooh, we've actually got a nice little view today because they've got that gate open. You can see a little bit of one of the 3 waterfalls that are feeding a 6-foot deep pond. And out of that pond shoot 7 fountains. You can kind of see one through the door there. Now those fountains always go off for a variety of reasons. So number 1, when the Rockies take the field. Number 2, when a Rocky hits a home run. Number 3, when the Rockies win a ball game. Now, I'm going to brag on us for just a second, everybody. Ready? We set a franchise record for ourselves last year with those 103 losses. We've never done it before. Thank you. Not a coincidence. The state of Colorado left drought conditions for the first time in over 20 years. So by not shooting those fountains off for wins, we are pioneers in water conservation in the state of Colorado. So I would just like to take a second and thank the Dodgers for sweeping us last year. You guys are also pioneers in conservation. Thank you. But you're doing good for us. Thank you. Any questions about our batter's eye really quickly? You can also see it says 415 out there at the deepest part of center field, but fun fact, deepest part of center field is just to the left of it. Follow that southwest sign, brakes plus sign, and lifetime window sign. That corner is 425. So yeah, I saw Raimel Tapia. Remember how speedy that guy was? He would hit a ball in there. It was like he could just put it right there anytime he wanted it. I would watch that guy hit in the park home runs all the time. It was fantastic. Oh, the past. MLB coldest first pitch at 23 degrees. That was April 2014. Yeah, the Braves were in town. Oh, and by the way, speaking of those Braves in 2014, I mentioned those fountains going off at the beginning. If you follow the Southwest sign, Cigna sign, Bank of Colorado sign underneath that, that's our visitors' bullpen. It's real windy here in April. And those Braves got a dose, and it was very cold. Our hottest first pitch on record is currently 97 degrees, and that was 2008. We could potentially break that this summer. We've been flirting with it. We have 3 times in our club's history been able to purchase statues from various all-star games. The first one that we're going to see today is right here on my left, your right. This is from 2013 when the Mets hosted at Citi Field. So I like to brag a little bit about how good the Coors family got of a deal. Citibank pays $20 million a year for that to be Citi Field. $50 million one time, that's all the Coors had to pay. Good for them. So this is the first one. We will not see Lady Liberty today. She was from 2008 on the planet. Who is it? No guesses, not even from you? Got it. I was like, I don't see my Angels fans, but I know that you guys know. It is indeed Mickey Mouse, but my favorite answer that I've gotten was last year. A kid on a camp tour goes, "It's John Cena." It was so cute. And when I go, "Oh, is that him?" He goes, "Yeah, it is."
Get them slick.
Oh no, you're not for the start now.
Your shorts are slipping.
Human being with a heart.
Statue.
I'm sorry. But around the corner. You're a human being with a heart.
It's a statue.
I'm sorry. But around the corner. So this is indeed, I always stand well back from him because I know that it's a thing to find the Mickey at various stadiums. I've had guests at the gate ask, will we see Mickey on tour today? So please take pictures of and with Mickey while I'm talking. I'll just take a second to mention a couple of the features that we get to see on Mickey. So we see the color silver, that we chose that to honor our state's heritage with silver mining. Black is of course for coal mining. These are the reasons that we became a state. We're different about the color white. Some people will say it is for the white of the baseball. And others will say it's for the snow-capped mountains. But one time, the VP of merchandising actually walked through my tour because that's the front office. And he said, no, it's because every team has white on their uniform. So you can tell your friends whatever you want. Yeah, just take your romantic story and run. Here's the actual beautiful romantic story. It's for purple. We already talked about the purple row. We're the only team, since the Diamondbacks gave it up anyway, that has purple. We chose it because there's a line in a song for Purple Mountain's Majesty. That song was initially a poem written by a woman named Catherine Lee Bates in 1893, so 100 years before we started playing. She was a visiting professor from Connecticut, and she came all the way up from Connecticut, which probably was its own whole journey. So she took a rickety old wagon halfway to the top of Pikes Peak. At that time, you could not take the wagon all the way to the top of Pikes Peak because the roads didn't exist. You had to get out and take a donkey the rest of the way to the top, and Catherine did so. Rode a donkey all the way to the top. This is dawn until dusk. She's up at the top, and she is so inspired by that view and the sun setting and the beautiful purple haze settling over our mountains that she wrote that poem, and now it's a song. So when you sing it, just remember you're talking about my mountains. The other thing that I do want to mention while we're up here is my pal Dinger, down here on Mickey's left foot, and there's a photo of him up here, which is an actual photo of Dinger's hatching. Dinger is our mascot. Stan always likes to say we do live in the wild kingdom, and he's correct. We've got elk, moose, hummingbirds. Stan has a really cool picture of a hummingbird feeding its baby, just saying. If you really want the science, Stan's the man today. My friend Michelle had a grizzly bear in her yard in October, and animal control said, you just have to wait. Stan will not shut his garage, and he had a bear in his trash in what, November, December?
I gotta stop talking about this stuff.
Why?
I don't know. No, it was, I don't know.
Sometime this fall, Stan left his garage open.
Right before hibernation.
Yeah, the bear was hungry, he needed a snack, Stan was helping the bear. I'm pro bear, so hey. So we could have chosen anything. We could have even done a cute little fish thing with the Marlins in the 90s to build this place. We had to dig 21 feet down, and we did find a bunch of teeny tiny little bones. We didn't know what they were, so we paused production, sent those over to their history and science museum, and they said, congrats, those are 66 million year old dinosaur bones. And we said, cool, what kind of dinosaur? And they're like, we don't know, you gave us bone flakes, get out of here. Luckily, not too long after they were building a sheriff station about 10 miles from here in Brighton, they found a Triceratops skull. We have a whole area out in Golden called Fossil Ridge, which we call because they find lots of confirmed Triceratops bones specifically. Most recently, we found one last October out in Fossil Ridge, a full Triceratops skull. And in 2016, they were building a Topgolf in Thornton. Same thing, found a mostly intact Triceratops skull. So this is no Triceratops migration route. We can probably assume that our tiny bones are from the Triceratops. So we chose him, and then in April 26, 1994, we rolled a 7-foot dinosaur egg out into center field at Mile High Stadium, and out popped Dinger in just a hat and shoes. Don't worry, normally he does also wear a jersey, but there he is in all his glory, and if you ever need a laugh or a smile, it's a 30-second video that MLB does have archived on YouTube of Dinger's hatching. It brings a smile every single time. I highly recommend watching it.
And since it is opening day, it's time for a little prehistoric history. Dinger, the beloved dinosaur mascot, was hatched 30 years ago this season. This is some video we pulled from the archive. Legend has it his egg was found when the stadium was built, much like the Triceratops rib fragment fossil found at Coors Field at the site. That bone now lives in the Denver Museum of Nature and Science.
I always think of how lucky we were to be there with a camera when he was hatched.
When Dinger was hatched?
Yeah, because you could
Crazy, because you never know. Babies
missed that.
come at all times.
Yeah.
Dinger's also a fantastic way to thank all of you for being a new part of our community foundation. So Dinger is our representative in the community. A lot of times we send him, because I'm personally more likely to listen to a dinosaur than a human. He should probably just do this tour. But he goes out to schools and promotes literacy. He is, like I said, I work in mental health full time. I work with a lot of families that are in and out of Children's out in Aurora. The most popular visitor, Dinger. He was way more popular than Russell Wilson last year. So was I though, so we all were. You guys are the reason that he gets to go there, because every tour ticket goes into the community foundation. It doesn't pay me and Stan. It doesn't pay Chris Bryant to sit on the bench. It pays Dinger to go and make babies happy. And you also just completed construction on a brand new Little League field in Santa Fe, New Mexico. So, thank you guys. We're gonna go be sports writers for a bit before we head down to the warning track. Any questions while we're up here? Also, take your time. If you didn't get a photo of or with Mickey and you want one, Stan can help. These are the new ones, so I'm gonna go put those away.
Windows are open.
Grab a seat anywhere. You can be all the way down in front. You can be all the way up top. There's no bad seats in here, really. Welcome to Lower Press. So this is where the written media is during this, however, is one of the most popular places for the written press to come in Major League Baseball, because we've got the best seats in the entire house. So while I said we're directly beneath radio broadcast, the space above that used to be the owner's box. That's how good these seats are. That's how good this view is. And of course, wide open, normally on both sides. I don't know why only one is. Whatever, not my problem. But because we are exposed, and this is Colorado, there are a few rules you have to follow when you're in here. Number one, you gotta pay attention to the ball game. Because that window is open, we get a lot of what are called dimples all the way through here. Not so many, because we have raised the netting about 5 feet, so it happens less often, and they do come in a little bit more slowly, so they just kind of glance off. We used to get really good dimples in here, and when we do get some, we only had one last year that was so imprinted that the press did this. The press will actually write down the date, the team, sometimes they'll put the player that hit it or in here, and when we do get some, we only had one last year that was so imprinted that the press did this. The press will actually write down the date, the team, sometimes they'll put the player that hit it or the pitcher that threw it. It's a really cool experience, and we've had some famous foul balls in here. Back behind that TV over there used to be a imprint. We engineering covers them up every off season. Wouldn't everybody rather this place look like Swiss cheese? Okay, see, I'm not alone. I'll let them know of your complaints. Over there behind the TV, Barry Bonds hit one so hard that you could see the imprint of the stitching. Andres Galarraga hit one back here, back through the ceiling once. This was 1996, I believe. Punched back through there, and it was hit so hard, they actually couldn't retrieve the baseball. So when we had to redo this part of the park, over there, it used to go all, what we're in now, with all. Well, when they excavated it, one of our teammates, Cabrina, actually went to the excavation crew and said, "You guys are gonna find a baseball back in that ceiling. That baseball is mine." Cabrina, we love her, but she's a little scary. They dug back in there all the way back behind, almost to the kitchen, and they never found that baseball. So you can believe one of a couple of things. Number one, it's over the front offices somewhere. Or two, and this is what I believe, that baseball is still going. And it might just fly back around this way. So, heads up. Back to following those rules as the press must. He hit that ball directly at that pickup truck, and if you watch the video, the entire Rockies bench just freezes because they thought it was the first home run to leave Coors Field. So instead of celebrating, which we normally do when our teammate hits a home run, right? They're all just frozen, and Kyle Freeland looks like this. Unfortunately, just like it is today, the background of that pickup truck was white. Really hard to see a little white baseball that far away. So it got lost in there, and it actually landed right in front of the baseball on that platform. StatCast let us know that if there was no pickup truck in the sky, that baby would have flown 504 feet and 1 inch. That's the current record. Thank you, StatCast. Okay, time to be nice to the Dodgers. Most likely, the longest home run is actually Mike Piazza. When he was with the Dodgers, this is in 1997, he hit a home run ball that was such a low pitch that our pitcher ducked. He just hit the deck because he thought it was going to take his head off. But it just kept rising because he hit the mess out of that thing. And it kept flying, so go back to Rocky's vision. To the right is a Keep Super sign, and then down and to the right is a Platte River picnic area sign that looks small to us, but it is the size of 3 of these glass panes. Underneath the Platte River, under the L, that is where that home run ball landed and a fist fight broke out. I mean, yeah, I had to give him something about the Dodgers. I don't blame him. Like that's all to fight for. But it's pre-StatCast, so we don't know where that ball would have landed. So he was credited with like as it lays, 497. Here's why I know that Mike probably hit the longest home run in Coors Field history. A couple years later, Giancarlo Stanton was still with the Marlins, and it is StatCast era. He hit one, follow the Platte River picnic sign, and go forward into that bleacher area, second row from the top. That's where Stanton's ball landed, and it was 504 feet even. We got bored in the off season this year, and one of the tour guides measured it. It's 36 feet in front of where the Piazza ball landed. But guess what? They tell us that the technology doesn't exist to review it. So, I think that's bogus. Like, we all carry computers in our pockets. One day we will be able to review it, and we'll probably confirm that Piazza hit the longest home run. So there's that one. But also to break everybody's heart, the longest home run must be hit during the course of a baseball game, not batting practice, and not a home run derby, which is why Juan Soto gets robbed a little bit. He hit one 520 feet measured by StatCast up into the Silver Bullet Bar during the home run derby that we hosted in 2021. So yeah, I remember going on my first tour here and I was like, nope, I was at that home run derby. Y'all don't know anything. I know everything. I was wrong. Sorry. But I'd like to give Soto credit. We do not have confirmation on whether or not the humidor was used in that 2021 game, home run derby, but I don't know. Pete Alonso won that one. The other one that we hosted, the All-Star game and home run derby, was 1998. And of course, we're all familiar, well, those of us up and on with home runs in the late 90s. However, the guy who won that home run derby, he was only fueled by a double whopper with cheese. It was Ken Griffey Jr. Show the man some respect. I will tell you guys a little bit about how to get into this park on a budget. So look at my beautiful batter's eye one more time, and now look up. That is what we lovingly call the rock pile, and it does feel like that when you sit there. But if you are 12 or under, or 55 or older, and you buy your game day ticket at the park the day of the game, it is $1. Everybody else, we're probably paying break in the bank somewhere between $5 and $12. $5 is going to be when the Marlins are here on a Wednesday, and I'm sure that they have that chart on Jackie Robinson Day in April every single year. Next to that are initials, KSM for Kelly Scott McGregor. He was our initial president of baseball operations. He's that guy who was placing those phone calls to the Coors company to get enough money to get us this baseball team. He's the reason the Rockies came to Colorado in the first place, but he passed away in his early 40s back in 2010. We haven't been the same since, but we wanted to honor him, so we retired his initials and we named McGregor Square across the street for him. Next to that is the number 17, the first number the Rockies ever retired themselves, and that is for my fellow left-handed first baseman, Todd. Todd played for the Rockies all 17 of his seasons. He leads in almost 3 swings in the practice circle. He always bought 33 tickets for underprivileged youth, and they were in section 333 every single game that he played as a Rocky. Here's the one that he could not plan for. So he gets elected to the Hall of Fame January 2020. He's inducted in July of 2021. He was going in with two other gentlemen. One, Ted Simmons, he's a catcher out of St. Louis. He was elected by the Veterans Committee. And then the other one's some dude named Derek Jeter. But when they went to induct him, they said, "Congratulations, Mr. Walker. You are the 333rd inductee to the Baseball Hall of Fame." You cannot plan for that. 332 people prior to Larry. That includes players, owners, managers, broadcasters, anyone that had been inducted. There were 332 of them before him. Cannot plan for it. It gives me goosebumps every time I talk about it, and it couldn't have happened to a nicer man. Any other question? Main injuries on their top half, so you guys can get to So as we're moving around the corner and everyone's getting photos, there are some pictures here of what's inside there since we never really get to go in it all. There's one time a year that the Rockies Clubhouse is open to fans, and that's during Rockies Fest every January. It's a one-day event. It's the only time that they have the players clear their belongings and you get to go in. It is over to the right field corner where our fair pole is. Huge back there. And you can see the hitting and pitching tunnels. Over there they've got two. That's the living room. Across that hall is their PT room, so they can get their massage, see their providers, get feeling healthy. This is their kitchen and dining area that we are behind right now. Huge space.
Oh my goodness. Beautiful. Those are so pretty. That is so neat.
Here in about an hour, you'll start seeing Rocky players filtered through, which is sometimes a cool experience on a tour. Back that way where we can't go is the visitors clubhouse, and that's because they are starting to filter through already to get themselves settled. But this is their front entrance. And we are going to be heading down the umpire's tunnel now. This is the door behind which Angel Hernandez used to commit his crimes. Come on, baby. I don't care what you're here for. Very, very nice. We just redid this area, and a local artist, Taylor Gallegos, did not just photos of the Rockies, but also of Toyota products. Did I tell you we're sponsored by Toyota? Okay, good. I think I can actually have to stay like 7 more times.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm already over time on the tour. So, Toyota. I'll have to do it. Yes, you did. I got it.
The Dodgers.
Please do not step on the grass. They're working so hard to make it lovely. And they do such a good job. Let's stand, and I know if you guys want any picture help. Very glad to help.
Let's get a picture.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sit on the bench.
Is this home or away?
Home. Sit on the bench.
Is this home or away?
Home. We'll sit by each other over there.
Pretty awesome.
Sit by each other over there.
Rockies dugout and the field is pretty cool.
What's your favorite?
Photo home. Let us know, but otherwise we're gonna start.
Mom, look at this painter.
The tour is really cool.
We gotta go in the dugouts. We got to go on the field. We just gotta see a bunch of like behind the scenes stuff.
They had like really cool like art like in the clubhouse of like the players. That was really cool.
Yeah, and we got to go on the outside of the players' clubhouse. We didn't. They say like if you go at the right time, you can see like the players going into the clubhouse. So that would have been cool, but it was so cool just seeing the outside of the clubhouse.
And it's cool how they explain more on like a lot of the stadium stuff, like about Dinger, like how, like why the triceratops, why the polka dots.
Yeah. Overall, it was a pretty cool stadium. I like the inside, and I like how the elevation's really high, so it's different than all the other stadiums.
And then mark with the purple row.
Yeah. We'll see you next video, guys. Charlie Blackmore was signing yesterday. I didn't bring any cards to get signed.
But we did get a picture with him.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.